Very interesting day for me. What remains for me to talk to you on such a wider subject? Everyone has quoted at least 3 of them, some 5 cases, 10 cases, 15 cases. The whole idea was to awaken lawyers, those who are sitting in the audience. And celebrating Lawyers' Day today, the entire credit goes to, of course, it's a very creditable for him. Very, very, very creditable for him. And incidentally, no break, but celebrating out of his own earned income, spending the amount, gathering people, motivating them, and that motivation, I'm sure, I don't know how many advocates here in this area are inspired, motivated, and they are likely to carry the legacy which has been laid down by Bodoli. How many of them? I have been asking this question to myself since I have been listening to this speeches here. What struggle? How we studied? How we migrated? I am talking about the organizer of this function. And then I go back to the history. Babasaheb Ambedkar, everyone knows how he studied, what financial difficulties he faced. After obtaining his degree as a barrister from Gray's Inn, he had no money to come back. No money to come back. Somehow some money was sent by Shahu Maharaj's son, and he purchased the lowest possible price ticket by boat, wherein animals were there, laborers were there, and in that boat he came. No food to eat, but no money to spend on eating. This is the real history. And he reached to Colombo, got down from the boat, traveled back to Tamil Nadu. From there, railway, got down at Dadar, and walked 3 kilometers from Dadar to Bididita with a heavy weight. Books that he had purchased were kept in UK only. Nobody knew that he was coming because there were no newspaper, no social media, no WhatsApp messages. And early in the morning he started shouting the name of Yashwantrao, Bhaiya, his son, then his brother's son. After a long time they got up and people gathered. He had no chair to sit. No chair to sit. Came, nothing much to eat, even in the home. And Matoshri Ramabai and his brother's wife, they were managing with a little means available to them, their family. Sustainability of the family, survival of the family. Each day was difficult. Most of you know about it. And then he thought that he should start doing something. People also expected him. Kirloskar Guruji came. S.K. Phule came. Some other people gathered. But what to do? Some people wanted him to start the movement, social movement. But he said, I don't have any money. I am not just in a position to start the social movement. Then some people feel, oh, he has become a barrister, but he doesn't want to just work for the people. He has become a selfish. This was some people were just arguing against him. How many of you know? At last, Kirloskar Guruji tried to give him some job. Sydenham College principal post was vacant. He thought he would be appointed as the principal, but he was not. Then he was offered a post of professor in Elphinstone College. He refused. Then he was also offered a post of the district judge. And then promised that he will be then elevated as High Court judge. This is the real history of his life. He refused. The people thought, oh, what is he doing? No money for obtaining sanat. It was his old friend Bhatt Vitena, Parsi gentleman, who also just gave some money to Ramabai to just she for sustain her life. Because he had written a letter to him. So he got some money and applied for a sanad on 25th June 1923. That letter is available. I had shown Justice Bodureji yesterday only. And then on 5th July, he got a sanad. But where are the cases? Nobody was helping him. Actually, many people he made. And I did not to tell you then that time who are the lawyers, who are the conducting the cases, who can help him. And one day, incidentally, he got one case and got an advance. I was surprised to read that advance. Rupees 100. Rupees 100. And that 100, that time you can imagine. So, after obtaining that case and rupees 100, he was walking. And he met one advocate, senior advocate. And he was going back to Nashik because he was from Nashik. Because he had no cases. They knew each other. And then he said, where are you going? He said, I am going back to Nashik. I don't have any case. His name was Bohod, Brahmin. Because naturally, because they were educated, others were deprived, no education available to anyone. And he said, I got 100 rupees. Why not? Where are you going? We'll practice together. So the petition was drafted by Bohod. And who argued the case? Babasaheb Ambedkar. Barrister Ambedkar, I should call him. Barrister Ambedkar first case with 100 rupees, advance obtained, and he succeeded. Then he made some other lawyers also. And one was very close friend and related to Lokmanya Tilak. This is a fact. But they also help each other. But these two first they started with partnership and got some good cases. One of the cases he got 500 rupees, as the history says. Can you imagine? From 100 to 500 now. What he did? He did not spend for his sustainability, for his survival, for domestic expenses. He purchased the volume of British laws of all that entire 500 rupees. Can you imagine? When just anybody can read it, can you imagine? And as it is referred by you and some others also, here only office at Damodar Hall. A small office with 2 chairs, 1 table, and now he is paying. Now the books volumes have increased. Space was very small. So at a place at the side of the Damodar Hall, which is demolished now, I am sure some of you know about it. When Baba Saheb Ambedkar started his practice there, and then he took on a rental basis a rather bigger room in order to accommodate these books. Starting to accommodate these books, and then of course it has been mentioned Madgaon, that is actually one Jadhav, his name was, he has hypothetically his land to a Marwadi money lender. And that he just gave him a case. First time he went out of Bombay and won that case. That was the beginning. But you know, he has traveled to different places. Solapur, Kolhapur, Pune, Nashik. He was going for cases, different cases, as and when just he was getting the opportunities. Not only that, when as a child I was hearing he had gone to Amalner also, which is my taluka place. And he conducted case there. And when people came to know, my grandparents and all others, my just fathers and mother also that time, hundreds of them, Baba Saheb Ambedkar is coming to conduct a case. Hundreds of the people from different part of that went to Amalner and he argued the case and succeeded. Why he was going? Because he was not getting the cases over here. Why he was going? Whatever the case he was getting, just he was going there and getting the justice delivered. That was sort of all cases are mentioned. I need not to repeat that and spend the time of you to listen me. So therefore, this is how just he started practice with all these difficulties. Not only that, but as people expected that he should start some social movement, he started that social movement with the Bahishkrita Bharat. And before that, it was in April 3, other than this date, S.K. Bhole had moved the resolution in a legislative assembly in Bombay, making all public places which oil just expenditure was incurred by government, and public places like water tanks, Chaudhar Tale and so many others, public places etc. open for all SCs, STs etc. That was the resolution. That resolution gave him impetus. That resolution opened actually what one can say the way for empowerment and liberating people. That was the resolution. In order to implement that resolution, he went to Mar. He was that time a member of Legislative Council also. Nobody was giving the pace. I am sure you know about it. It was one Muslim gentleman. He provided the pace for him. And when I am mentioning Muslim gentlemen providing the pace, now I go back and remember Mahatma Jyotiba Phule's. A teacher, Brahmin teacher told his father Govind Rao, why are you sending your son to school? Who will do the cultivation of land? You should not allow him to go to school. Do you know this? And Govind Rao listened to him, started him, but it was a Muslim teacher. Went to Govind Rao, told him, why? Just he is a very intelligent student, he should not just stop his education, you please send him to the school. It's a fact. And that is how he went again back. And that is how he started studying. Had he not, what would have happened? So Baba Saheb Ambedkar had the inspiration from him. Baba Saheb Ambedkar had from Kabir, because he was Kabir Panthi. His family was Kabir Panthi. But Baba Saheb Ambedkar, after reading Buddha Charitra, when he was felicitated after he passed his 7th standard, and after reading him, because Ramji Baba has also mentioned it, now Bhima has started revolting. These are his words, revolting. That revolting in the context of reading Buddha Charitra in Marathi. Can you imagine how perceptive he was, how active he was, and how he was learning fast. He was a very fast learner. He was a self-made man. Attadipa Bhava comes subsequently. But Attadipa Bhava also indicates what? Be the light yourself. Very unfortunately, whether I should speak publicly or not, but what one can say, the commitment to the truth, ultimately truth wins, provided you fight for it. His Honorable Justice Google, while talking discussing there, was talking Nasheeb in the particular context of his career. I said, you are talking about Nasheeb. And then I recall the one statement by Buddha. What is the statement? Man has no fate, no Nasheeb. Please remember, he has except the past deeds. What I am standing because of past deed. Had I not been the principal and taught this here, just as the organizer of the function, that is my past deed that made him to invite me, that I should invite sir. That is everyone, those who are here, they are the creation, including Professor S.S., I call him Professor S.S. Chaudhary. He is Professor for me. And Chairman of Bar Council of Maharashtra. How he got elected is a very different story. I may or may not refer to it. So that is, everyone is here, the product of the deed they have done. Good, then you are good. Bad, then you are bad. And that is how we call the Sutta. Sabba papa sakaranam kusala sagopa sampada sachitta pariyodopanam etena buddhanu sashanam. Etena buddhanu sashanam. What it means? Refrain from doing unwholesome deeds. What you do, you become. Perform wholesome ones. To purify your mind. This is the teaching of the Buddha. And that is really inspiring. And that is how everyone should remember, if you are doing wrong, wrong will happen. If you are doing good, good will happen. What is sow, the seed, that will grow. And what will grow, he will become. That is called as everyone is an architect of his own life. Everyone is a maker of his own life. And one can experience this. Really, one can experience this. And I am sure everyone sitting over here, if this follows their own thing, they did, and then follow the path of Baba Saheb. And not only that, when Baba Saheb Ambedkar started teaching in Government Law College, actually I had an occasion just when I was the principal of Siddharth Law College after going back from Aurangabad, Principal Topi, etc., etc. And you will be surprised, he was telling the students, it is quoted in this book, but I don't want to read it. This is a very interesting book. I like working as advocate, lawyer. He uses the word lawyer. I like working as lawyer. I enjoy arguing the cases. He was arguing because he had in-depth knowledge of law, how to analyze it, how to put it, how to convince, because that is also the skill. Lawyer is nothing but knowledge, but a knowledge with skill. You have a knowledge but no skill, you will not succeed. You will not succeed at all. Now I recall Ram Jethmalani. You know, what was his qualification? What was his position? He was an outstanding advocate at Killa Court. That is what he used to tell me. Because I came in his contact in 1983 when he wanted to be 5 years law course compulsory in all colleges and gave us only 3 years to shift over. And then I came in his contact till he passed the last breathing. Very close relation. And then, you see, he was outstanding advocate, standing outside the court for seeking cases. Even now, just if you go to Killa Court, even now there are outstanding advocates in Bombay. I don't know your courts here. But then, he has a reading habit. He was a voracious reader. He used to read, apply his mind, and use his brain in such a way beautiful, because in 3 cases, he appeared as a senior counsel for my cases, which after I revived my sanat and started practicing, in Supreme Court he appeared. And he won us. I don't want to go detail. And voracious reader, thinker, analysis, and self-believer. Absolutely, I tell you, the way he used to speak and read, he read in 1 hour, which was prepared for 10 days, a petition. Myself and Advocate Chauhan, Advocate Dr. Chauhan. It was regarding actually privatization of 2 companies. And the companies people came to me because by the time after revising my jurisdiction of Sanat in 1995 end, they said, then I went to Delhi. Delhi I went first time in December 1970 as the principal of Ambedkar Law College for recognition of college and getting the grant to construct the building we stand there. And from that December 70, Delhi had become a part of the career and life in every sense of the term. And that is how the case, the way in which I remembered to him, Nani Palkhiwala, equally. I had a close contact in a court also, just, you know. Why not we have such example? And believe me, I had seen Ram Jethmalani with Buddha's statue in his office at home. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, he said he was his teacher. He taught him law after migrating from Pakistan. What a man! So nothing is impossible. You can make everything possible. I don't know just how many lawyers here sitting here. I asked my friend, is it that, you see, everybody speaking, teaching also in a high court, just in English like Marathi. And I had decided from the day one that I will speak only in English because I consider myself as an English man. Now you'll be surprised to know why, how it came. And had I not been just done that, you know, I started teaching ABCD in 8th standard. Coming from village. 11th standard, 58 Marathi. College, English. And then, after having passed my graduation, after 4 years, 2 years, Pratap College Amalner, 2 years MJ College Jalgaon. By that time, just I was a PT leader in Amalner. I was appointed one principal Damle. I was surprised. PT leader, a village boy. And I was taking PT of college students. And then, MJ College, NCC. So I sometimes call myself as a military man. 303, 2 years camps taken. And that was another history. After passing MA of the BBA, English, Pune Law College I joined because I wanted to become Baba Saheb Ambedkar like lawyer. Please believe me, I don't know somehow. I had that dream. If Baba Saheb Ambedkar was lawyer, I should also become lawyer. And we did and we had 3 students, we had went together One student decided once, from today onwards we'll speak only in English. Please believe me, only in English. And since that day, he was on road, going anywhere with three of us, everybody used to look at us. How these people, they are speaking English. How they are speaking in English. That is how English we started speaking, and that is how English has become, I live in English also, only in English. And I read only in English. And I started reading English newspaper Times of India from 1960. Even now. And I always say my children are born not with a silver spoon or golden spoon, but with Times of India. Let your children also just be born with the Times of India. You should really just, I don't know, no lawyer spoke in English, and I was really surprised. I was really surprised. Why? Why not? So I believe if you speak in English, think in English, talk in English, write in English, whatever publications are there, just you speak in English. And because I am not a PhD, but I was recognized by Bombay University as a PhD guide because of my published work. And I guided many students also. Because I had enrolled my name, started with Professor Sitna was my guide, great man, and immediately next year I was appointed principal of Ambedkar Law College. That was the reason. That was the reason. And that is how what I say, you set up the goal. And as a lawyer, I will just actually read out one paragraph only for the purpose of, because this is Lawyers Day being celebrated. And that is, as he told some law students, he means Baba Saheb Ambedkar, in Mumbai, years later, after he started teaching in government law college, he loved working as a lawyer. I have already told you. He particularly liked making arguments in court. He was very argumentative with everyone, and very, very clearly, that is how how many volumes are there, published of his speeches and everything. So, which he thought, he particularly liked making arguments in court, which he thought was the summum bonum of a lawyer's being. What is lawyer? Is nothing but he has to be argumentative. Argumentative. Further he says, summum bonum of a lawyer's being, requiring what? Requiring knowledge of the individual and how he functions in society, and the working of the human mind. You referred mind. 2-3 times you refer. Working of the human mind, and a mind trained to drawing logical inferences. Logic is very important. Unless you know the logic, cause and effect, that is theory of cause and effect, logic is nothing cause and effect. Cause will give the effect. If cause is good, effect is good. If cause is bad, effect is good. So these are the qualities which he narrated to the students of law. And after narrating those qualities, he of course guided us, every one of us. And therefore, then you refer to constitutions, so many highlighted. Actually, there is another book which just ICC, will be delivered now very soon on 22nd to the copies also. That is Ambedkar's Preamble. And other title is the history of making constitution. Unknown history of making constitution. Details everything mentioned. Preamble was to be based upon a preamble one already prepared by Nehruji, objective deduction. Then there were 2-3 other preamble written. But Baba Saheb Ambedkar wrote in a preamble in such a way, you should really read recently, very interestingly in their book, and the word fraternity, he at the last he included it. We were talking about fraternity. It's a feeling. It's a sense of belonging. Because he has argued, Justice, he submitted his last speech on 25th November 1949, in the last speech delivered in the Constituent Assembly. He said that democracy in India is actually a top dressing of the undemocratic soil. Undemocratic soil. You referred it. Is that even now a social democracy? Whether the objectives are fulfilled and what is happening, whether the rule of law is being implemented, whether the democratic accountability is still there. Actually, everyone, all lawyers, law students and teachers, they should really reflect on these questions. And unless you reflect and talk and do something, I don't think. Otherwise, however, the constitution is good. If the people are wild, even good constitution will fail. He has already said. And if however, constitution may not be good, but people are good, constitution will succeed. Has our constitution succeeded? Yes and no. Whatever Justice, I don't want to talk about judiciary because I have been studying, writing and speaking on this subject, judiciary, government and all these things. And how the judgments are. Faith justice. I was a special counsel to Union of India for Bombay High Court for 10 years. And I was handling these cases also. I know the bureaucracy also. And as a principal also in a medical law college, there was a principal who used to give admission, pay 1 rupee, get admission, and get 30 rupees as an advance scholarship. That was the practice we had introduced. That was the practice we introduced, and that is how the number of students increased. There was no money because director of social welfare has not related. I went to Pune and they came in with the money. You see, that is how. And that is how, just unless you actually, what you talk, you should practice. And what you talk must be fair and just. What you talk must be inclusive. What you talk must be integrity. What you do must be just, must actually comply with the outstanding principles and the objectives and the ideology of Constitution. And preamble gives everything. And that is how I admire your work. And your wife is supporting you. She was so active, more active than you also. Okay. And that is how, of course, your son, Kranti, his real Kranti, his revolution. And his grandson, I met him yesterday, yes, standard. What a mature his grandson, I tell you. I really admire him. One should meet him, talk with him. The way he talks, very good English, very natural English he speaks and natural thinking also. And I see him in a future very brightly. So that is actually actual work. These should be examples. And I see, unless these examples are there, rule of law and accountability of we are going forward 2 steps, and in India I am talking as a nation, and 1 step backward. It is not the positive movement ahead. It is a both way, and it is for people, those who know the Constitution, law and contribution of Baba Saheb Ambedkar. I don't want to talk about the rising pendency cases, etc., etc. Now in Supreme Court, 80,000 cases pending. And 10,000 cases are heard in 6 months' time. Whereas previously in 2020, 2022 and 2023, 10,000 cases were added in 2 years. Now 6 months, 10,000 cases. Indians are becoming more litigants, not because of citizens, but because of government departments. Most of the cases are government. And why they do it, I can tell you, because I was a special counsel to Union of India. Because that becomes their source of income for them. And so many other things are there. I don't want to go into that. And therefore, that your purity of action and at the same time a moral conduct. And all these principles which are included in a preamble, justice, liberty, equality and fraternity, ensuring unity and integrity of nation. Unless this is done, celebration okay, but you have to also see that you see ensure that by next year what you achieve, in what way your contribution. And unless that is done, I don't think this celebration is only celebration like Diwali and other celebrations. I don't want that. Actual result. As we were taking a legal aid, as we started in this Ambedkar Law College, how was it? And he was the chairman of the legal aid committee, Professor Choudhury was chairman of that. And what we brought it. And then same thing we did in 16 slum areas in Bombay. We were working through legal aid. We were conducting filing cases in a high court also, and we succeeded. One case I can tell you, without going to high court, we managed to just because rules and regulation, there was a postgraduate reservation in medical colleges, only government colleges. 3 medical colleges, corporation, there was no reservation in a postgraduate medical in Bombay. How some doctors came. They said, this is that, you are running legal aid, you should help us file the cases in the high court. Okay. We used to file on behalf of them. I said, give me 15 days. I studied the whole matter, collected all rules, regulations, and ultimately I met Vice Chancellor of Bombay University. And reservation was provided by circulars which were issued by UGC also. Copy I was not getting it, at least 8 days I spent, but one of my students who was working in Nair hospital, he provided it secretly on this condition. I submitted all papers before the Vice Chancellor, Nehru Bengali, Parsi lady, and she went through it, and I suggested her in written application, madam, unless reservation is built in, kindly don't approve the admission of these 3 law colleges, three medical colleges for post-graduation. She wrote it down, called the registrar, they just send the letters to these 3 colleges and it is reservation. Are you aware of that? How you can work? Provided you use properly, without going to court also you can do it, provided to follow the various with greater understanding what it can be achieved. Issues, celebration you do, but you must also maintain a record from today onwards how many cases in 1 year you got the justice done. If you do that, that will be complete. Started in Siddhartha Law College Legal Aid sent newsletter. Few copies, cyclostyle, 500, and we used to send to Supreme Court, High Court, judges, ministers, and we started conducting Lok Nyaya, Union Aurangabad also. You ask, but there are more local ayala. Every Sunday, each Sunday of each, we used to conduct cases, almost 5,000 cases. Corporation, police station, this thing, Dharavi was our center. Justice Bhagwat and other Supreme Court also came there once. What is going on? And we did it. Bhardwaj, who was a law minister, he came to see how the law, these Lok Nyayas are conducted. Whole day he spent in a college. And we had at least 10 cases brought out and just they were sorted out. Real cases, not only just paper cases. And closed. Arbitration is a different matter. We know just what is happening about it. And therefore, what I say, practical thing, Justice, you must start maintaining this. This is my suggestion to you as a last speaker of this very interesting program. If you do that, highlight it, it will be good example to other laws also. And secondly, if possible, I think next year program will be conducted only in the English language, because English is being spread. In China, the number of English speaking and writing is increasing. Why? They know the importance of English. That has become a channel of now knowledge, spirit. And of course, by Smriti Hitakari who quoted that she does educate, agitate, organize. And I always say education liberates and empowers, equalizes and take you forward. And I give a slogan, you know, पढ़ेगा तो आगे बढ़ेगा, नहीं तो तेरा प्रगति नहीं होगा। पढ़ते रहो। Okay, thank you very much. I hope I have appreciated you further.